Hey, welcome to Scott Talks, and I'm here with Stefanie Wilder-Taylor, and I'm holding, and I am Scott, and I am...
You are Scott.
Yeah, I am. We can't forget that. And I am holding your newest book, Drunkish. Really happy about this book. I love the title.
Thank you.
I love the conversation you guys have. Stefanie was a original guest in our first season almost 5 years ago, huh? And you've come back and you've been a part of our life, and you've been such a big advocate for Laura's writing. You've been such a supporter of the podcast. You are hilarious.
Thank you. And I've known you for a really long time, too.
Yeah, I was going to say we have known about each other. It's one of those interesting things in our community, how you get to know people by just showing up day after day, but you don't have a direct relationship with someone.
Right.
And that's one of the things I was really thinking about during the interview is how far we've come from the years. Yes. It's been, now your book is a little bit more about your journey to getting sober. And the story you tell in the beginning of the interview was about your first New Year's Eve sober.
Right.
And that was when?
2009.
2009.
Yeah. So May of 2009, I got sober. So that was December 31st of that same year.
And I got sober 2008. Almost the same time. It was in December 19th. I was 15 this year. Year sober. Yeah.
Congratulations.
So, yeah. And I think we started coming across each other's path not far, somewhere in 2009, 2010.
No, 2009.
It was
like
2009.
early on, like the very beginning.
Yeah.
You were one of those faces that was like nice to see.
And you were funny. And you were a mom. And then Laura started telling me little stories about who you were in the world. Because I only knew you as the woman who showed up at the 10:30 or what have you. But I found it to be incredibly ironic that you were the founder of Baby Mom Wine Culture. And I know that that's a little bit of a grandiose title, but...
Yeah, I mean, it was by accident.
Yeah, a lot of your identity at the time was wrapped around wine culture and mommy wine culture. Huh?
Well, it's because I love to drink, and I didn't even realize that other moms liked it as much as I did until I started a blog and got involved in like the blogging culture. And in the blogging culture, a lot of these moms were like, "Mommy needs wine,"
right.
like "Mama needs vodka," like
they still are.
I know, rosé all day. Like, but I was very attracted to those blogs because I was like, these are my people, right? These are people I have something in common with. So I wasn't even aware that there were a lot of moms who didn't drink.
Right.
That seemed annoying and not fun.
Yeah.
And so when I wrote a book, I was still in that kind of blogging mindset, right? Because I'd started from a blog and then I got this book deal. So I was like, well, naturally, I'm going to make lots of jokes about drinking because I think I'm talking to my people. It was very surprising later when my first reviews on my first book that were like, you sound like an alcoholic.
You were surprised.
I was very surprised. I was so mad.
And you were a comedian.
I was a comedian. Well, I stopped doing, because I stopped doing stand-up for good when last time I ever did stand-up, I was pregnant with twins.
Right.
And they're 16.
And that was before 2008.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So you were drinking.
They were 18 months.
Your career of comedy was all.
Yes.
You needed to medicate to perform.
In fact, after I got sober, I actually did one stand-up show. I was 10 days sober, and I was like, this is going to be a nightmare. Well, I did the show, and it was actually fine, but it really clarified how much I just don't like stand-up, like especially doing it. So it wasn't that I couldn't do it sober. It was that like, oh yeah, this really isn't for me.
It wasn't fun?
Why am I doing this?
Was it not fun?
Not fun.
Yeah.
I never loved doing stand-up.
There's a lot of sober comedians now. Like, it's kind of a big thing. We actually went to a couple of shows that were all sober comedians, and they were some big-name people there. And one of the things we found after the show is that the comedians had all these sober jokes that they don't do in the world. But in our medium, they got to do them, and they loved it. And our people got it. They had so much fun with it, and we had a blast. I think I laughed harder there than I've laughed in a while. But I think 15 years ago, being a sober comedian was new. Like, there weren't a lot out there.
Right.
So that's changed. in 15 years.
And I tried, like, in the book, since I don't do stand-up, but I still think like a comedian. I tried to write some jokes, not like super obvious jokes, but I tried to add some humor that people that are already not drinking would like get,
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Well, I was looking at some of the titles of your book of Drunkish. That they're funny, like when everybody knows your first name, not without my Xanax, which I think is hilarious. Sober wife, happy life. Tools of the trade. Sorry about your bachelorette party.
Sober wife, happy life. That was that had a question mark.
Oh yeah.
I'm answering that question. Does that mean you're going to be happy?
Uh-huh. Are you going to answer it now, or are you going to let us read it?
No, it's better. It's better. Yeah, not with what was the bachelorette party? Sorry about your bachelorette party.
Yeah, sorry about your bachelorette party.
That was my favorite chapter that I wrote because so that was a story where I pretty much ruined this friend's bachelorette party.
Okay.
But early in sobriety, I was making some apologies for some past behavior.
Not real amends, apologies.
We call it what we call it. I was making some amends. And, I was trying to think of like what I had to apologize for. And I was like, it always kind of nagged me that like I did this thing where this little thing where I invited like a married guy to like my friend's bachelorette party that I was throwing for her in Vegas.
Oh, nice.
And like, drank and then left with him and didn't sleep in the hotel room with my friend. And, but she's probably fine. Plus the fact that she was sober, the friend in question, that this had happened like 8 years before. She quit drinking. I quit in May. She quit December of that same year. We really weren't in touch very much. But in my mind, I'm like, what a great person to practice making an amends on. Because I'm going to call her and she's going to be like, oh my God, forget about it. Like, we were all drinking back then. Like, of course, like, no hard feelings, No. She was like, is this about my bachelorette party? And I was like,
oh,
but she was
right there waiting for the phone call.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. She knew. I was like, can I call? It was not a Facebook message. It was like, can I call you? And so she's like, is this about that? And I said, oh, my God.
And DUI is called dating under the influence. That's really clever. So, I will read this. I promise you, especially since you read it on Audible. Because I love listening to books. It's way more than I love reading them.
I think a lot of people do.
Yeah, I fall asleep a lot when I'm reading. So
yeah,
I'm down to get it in however I can.
Yeah.
So I just real quick, I wanted to ask you, like, 14 years now you've been doing this.
Yeah, I'll be 15 this May.
Yeah, and you've become more public about your life as a sober person.
I was public a lot at the very beginning, and then I kind of went dark for a while because it was like I did that. I helped as many people. I felt kind of called to, like, once I was sort of outed, I was like, oh, well, this seems to be helpful to people. I'm getting a lot of emails from people. But then at a certain point, it's like, it's enough. Like, so I was quiet about it for many years. And then I just thought, like, now that I'm going to have 14 years of sobriety, that seems like, maybe now it's going to be helpful. I found that when I talked on my own podcast about addiction and sobriety, like, those would always be very popular episodes. Like, I would always get emails or messages from people saying, thank you for talking about that. And like, I think I'm going to quit drinking. And I was like, maybe I should just write a book about this.
Well, you give people permission to find their own truth in your stories, which I think is a treat. And, I like I said, watching you from a distance, I and even listening today, I didn't realize how in the public eye you were at the time. And anonymity is a difficult thing to navigate, even in a world where anonymous is part of, sort of the concept to which we're supposed to operate in. But
well, I think that it's said that your anonymity is up to the individual person, as long as you're not outing other people and discussing other people's sobriety or lack of sobriety or whatever. It's like up to the individual person. And like, I just tell my story. Yeah. I try to stay away from giving any advice or telling other people what to do or how to do it. I just wanted to tell like what worked for me. I think a lot of things can work for a lot of people.
I mean, I think it's going to help a lot of people.
Yeah, but you have to walk that line, and you know, some people are going to get mad at me.
Well, I think it's easy to see yourself in other people, and getting mad is one way to sort of push yourself away from it, you know?
True.
Yeah,
True.
I mean, that's what I've learned by, you know, watching Laura go public and be more popular, that if you touch a nerve, it's a good thing. You know, it doesn't have to feel good to be good. And I agree. I think that can be really strong. So
I agree.
That's constantly I'm telling Laura when, you know, somebody writes something nasty, I'm like, you touch the truth, you know, like it's their work from this point on. And as long as you're telling your truth. But I've really admired the journey for you and that transparency that you've allowed yourself to have with this journey. You do it really with a lot of humor, and I think it makes it very consumable by people, you know.
Thank you.
To identify with.
I was really hoping to be funny, like be myself and be funny, but also not be flippant about what's a very serious topic, you know, getting sober, and people are suffering, and it's you know, I don't want to make light of how awful it was when I felt like I can't quit drinking. Like I'm in a bad place, and I don't want to quit drinking, but I have to quit drinking, and I don't think I actually have a diagnosable alcohol problem, but yet I was in this weird limbo place of like, I don't want to ever drink again. I think I'm unsafe drinking. At the same time, I really love drinking. So like, what do you do? And that's the story that I wanted to tell. The dark moments of that, like those dark moments in my heart of like, I think this is coming to an end. You know, this drinking thing is not working out for me, but like grasping onto it like a freaking life raft, and then what that felt like to just let it go, and how scary that is.
Raising the bottom, or raising the bar for the bottom for other people, I think.
Yeah, because it just doesn't matter.
No, I mean, because that wasn't my story. Like I wanted to stop and I couldn't, but I just couldn't. I just kept losing things, and like I felt like I had to hit that place where I knew I didn't have a choice for a long time. And I think your story allows people to make a choice before they lose all those things. And
people probably won't, Scott. Like, that's the thing. Yeah. I think you can hear somebody's story, and it could give you permission, and you can see that. But at the same time, people are going to do what they're going to do. Yeah. And you can only, like, that's why I don't love self-help books that much, because, like, you could lead a horse to water. But, like, maybe if you hear enough stories, you can go, oh, okay, maybe.
The book is Drunkish. When is it out? Is it out now?
Yes.
It is.
It's out now.
Yeah, good. And it's on Amazon. It's on
everywhere.
Simon & Schuster. It's everywhere.
Yes.
Yeah. Check out the podcast.
It's a major publisher, Simon & Schuster.
Simon & Schuster is one of the big five.
You can get it wherever.
We're very proud of that. You are a sister. Yeah. And thank you for being on the show.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you.
All right.